Well, here we are, at the next stage of a long jag of revisiting old friends. Harlock, Blackjack, Lupin III, Amuro Ray, Char Aznable, and today's subjects, Tenchi and his harem. I honestly didn't schedule this next group of episodes this way on purpose. It just shook out that way. Maybe I'm just having trouble finding new inroads in anime. I think by, let's say August, we should be covering some new ground. Newish anyway. And my schedule is rarely set in stone anyway, so it could change. But I planted these seeds long ago, and it's time to harvest. Now let's get to some Tenchi Muyo. When we last left Blandish teen boy Tenchi Musaki recently defeated a rogue mad scientist controlling his thirsty space pirate non-girlfriend with a holy power usually reserved for the ships of an alien civilization his grandfather and incestuous great aunt are a part of, as well as a cute half-god great aunt who saved him, and all thanks to the help of a trapped mad scientist who was freed by a dizzy space police lady's causality screwing talent, and they all took the ship/cat/rabbit back home to play grab-ass with him. I think I smell burnt toast. Am I having a stroke?
No, it's a stroke. I smell toast.
Oh, that's probably just Milton.
Okay, it's the one new thing. It makes...
Let me finish!
Toast. You ruined it.
Anyway, Tenchi's house is now full of crazy space women, and he basically has the power of cosmic, but doesn't get to surf around all cool-like on a silver board. Considering the huge revelations of the first OVA, the first few episodes of the second are pretty chill. The first sees the gang take care of a relative of Tenchi's, the baby Taro, who makes trouble for our completely unprepared gal squad. They do try to make the best of things, but it seems like the little Todd has them outmatched. Fortunately for all involved, the greatest scientific mind in the galaxy has some experience mothering, and not just Ryoko, and shows a surprisingly tender side to herself, which gives us a glimpse into her past.
I had a baby once.
What?
The father was a member of Royal Space Academy, like myself. We were both students when we got married. I loved him and felt so attached to him. Me and him and the baby. That was all I needed in the whole world. But you see, he was from a very prestigious family. While I was gone, messengers came from his family. And he and the baby were taken from me.
The next episode sees Sasami having difficulty explaining to her sister that at least half of her, if not the whole of her, is actually Tsunami, the entity that the Jiraians practically worship. It is also a tree ship or something. It turns out that when she was just a tot, probably only 100 at the time if I know my Jiraians, she had a horrible accident falling from a great height, and Tsunami had to kind of fuse with her to sustain her life. Eventually, Sasami will grow up to be Tsunami. I think. Anyway, nobody really has a problem with that, and all is well. Probably didn't need a whole episode for that. The following episode finds a being called the Mass escaping from Washu's subspace laboratory because it reacted to the feelings of Ryoko towards Tenchi. It forms into this clay woman thing that poses a threat to Tenchi, but after some hijinks and tension is fused with our favorite Cabot so that she becomes a humanoid hybrid, which also seems kind of pointless and just an excuse to up Ryoki's cute points. Huh. You know, now that I think of it, not only are these episodes chill, but they're also somewhat superfluous, or at least not worth 30 minutes each. The viewer already knows Sasami is fused with Tsunami from the first OVA, and Ryoko didn't need the upgrade at all. The baby episode gives us a bit of time getting to know Washu, so that's nice. But did it need an entire episode? At least in the first OVA, we either had a new character introduction each episode or some valuable info passed along. This is, I don't know, kind of meh. These episodes take up half the second OVA. Is there no way some of these threads could have been combined at some point and left more time to flesh out the meat of the story? The upcoming episodes with Dr. Clay and the Jiraiyan royal family? Maybe Washu's mother instincts with the baby is the impetus for Ryoko to seek out fusing with the Mass? Or Sasami's concern about not being herself is spurred on largely by watching the baby interact with the others, reminding her of the incident on Jirai? Did each of these need their own separate episode? I can't imagine waiting a month or two in between episode releases for more of the girls just puttering around having domestic tiffs. Didn't we just get done with an arc with a cool villain and a huge ship threatening Earth? I'm starting to feel like this thing doesn't hold up very well. It's in the 4th episode we finally get some promising world building and plot development when we're introduced to this octopus-head guy, Dr. Clay, and his robot servant, Zero. He goes before this high entity named Lady Tokimi, whose power and dimension confound the senses. Even the senses, or sensors, of Zero. It seems that Tokimi is curious about Washu and requests that he retrieve her for an audience. So naturally, Dr. Clay, who knows and greatly dislikes Washu from their days at the Science Academy, thousands of years ago, mind you, decides that he'll kidnap her. But you can't just sneak up on the greatest scientific genius in the universe, so he has Zero go undercover as Ryoko to get close enough to grab his old rival. But since Zero copied not only the spiky-haired space pirate's form, but her feelings, she has trouble staying on task when she's around Tenchi. Guy just has that effect on the ladies, I guess.
Little Washu, dinner's ready.
Oh, it's so late already? And what do you want, little Ryoko?
I just thought you might need my help with something.
All right, then you can put this and this and this data in for me. Thanks, Ryoko.
Ryoko, dinner time.
Oh, yes, I'll be right behind you.
Don't worry, she's okay.
Clay gets fed up with Zero's lack of progress and orders her to kill Tenchi so she can concentrate on grabbing Washu. So, at night, Zero sneaks into Tenchi's room with the intention of doing him in. But ultimately she finds she can't do it. Milksop young men just make her too wet to murder. Just as an aside, the music from when Zero makes her attempt on Tenchi's life is one of those tracks never released on any of the soundtracks, and it still frustrates me to this day.
If that boy is in your way, you must obey me. Eliminate him.
Back when Tenchi music was actually good. Anyway, it becomes clear that Washu was cut onto Zero's deception somehow, and even who she's working for. Again, somehow. And of course Tenchi had no clue of any of this, but is determined to save both Ryokos. So he, Ayeka, and Washu follow Zero and Ryuoki until they come upon Dr. Clay's ship. Washu confronts the tentacle-bearded bastard personally.
Oh, just stop it! I don't want to see you. The one who wants to see you is Lady Tokimi.
Huh? Lady Tokimi?
Surprised, Washu?
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's the first time I've heard you call somebody by a title.
Damn you!
So, who is this Tokimi anyway? Remember, I was locked up for the last 5,000 years. I'm pretty sure I don't remember hearing that name while I was at the academy. Can't remember a thing that happened over 20,000 years ago. Come on, give me a hint!
Well, you're still the little joker, aren't you, Washu? You may not know her, but she knows you. If you want to know, ask when you get there.
I think what I like about Dr. Clay is that he's kind of bumbling and almost sympathetically pitiable in his delusions of grandeur and how they're so easily dashed. And yet, he's also a right prick and has zero respect for anything except in a clinical sense, and in how something can boost his status. He's like Kagato in some ways, even if he isn't the more direct physical threat. We see that he's every bit as merciless when pushed, punishing Zero for rebelling. Well, the two-parter ends with Tenchi saving himself, Ayeka, and Mahoshi with the power of the Lighthawk wings, and Washu fusing Zero with Ryoko to save her life. Which makes Ryoko much more open about her feelings, though she never seemed to have trouble expressing them before, except in execution. Pretty basic happy ending, except... what about Tokimi? Here's where discussing OVA 2 can get kind of depressing. Because the Dr. Clay episodes do such a fine job teasing the audience about the possibilities lying in store for them in the future. But as far as the future of the OVA continuity goes, many of these possibilities are cruelly extinguished by... OVA 3. Just look at the rich creative universe laid out for us in just a little time in these episodes with the introduction of Tokimi. Look at the production design, the strange twisted structures and planets with impossible physical properties in the Tokimi dimension. Just the very existence of such a being that, as far as the viewers let in on, is every bit the equal to Tsunami, is enough to titillate the imagination of the viewers, especially with as much fanfare and bizarreness as in her first appearance. Who is she? Who is that D3 guy? What kind of dimension is she living in? There's so much to unpack, and it was electrifying when I first watched. To think that they do so little with it in the third OVA is so disheartening. But I'll have to slay that dragon some other time. Just keep in mind what's been established and what's established in the final episode. Masaki Kajishima is great at world building, but not so great at the meat and potatoes of storytelling. The final episode sees a visit by other members of the Jiraiyan royal family, including Lady Funaho, who is Yosho's composed and dignified mother, Misaki, Ayeka and Sasami's super doting mother, and Azusa, the king of Jirai, and kind of a stubborn asshole. Ostensibly, they've come to pick up Ayeka and Sasami to take back to Jirai, much to Ayeka's concern, but also Funaho is concerned about the things she read in Mahoshi's Galaxy Police report about the Kagato incident. It also doesn't hurt for her to see her son, who hasn't once visited in the very long time he's been in self-exile.
Then I made an interesting discovery. I found that Ryoko's gems were giving energy to my tree. And that means that Ryoko's gems have the same quality as the royal family's trees. That they have the same exact power.
Even before we saw Mihoshi's report, Jiraiya's trees suspected all this. So when you fought with Ryoko, her ship could break through Jiraiya's defense area and showed massive destructive power. So there was no doubt. Her gems were powerful. But your ship must have sensed all of this as well. And you, having fought with Ryoko, you must have guessed this. Given that all this is true, her gems should be able to create the Light Hawk wings just like Tenchi can.
Funaho wants to prevent Washu's technology from falling into the wrong hands, hoping she can recruit the mad scientist for Jirai, or convince her not to make anything more with the jewels she embedded into Ryoko. Washu only agrees not to help any major galactic power and vows not to make another Ryoko, basically implying she's one of a kind. But with that resolve, the king still demands the right to choose Ayeka's fiancé. And oh boy, is his pick a doozy. I see a lot of musical theater in this guy's life.
From school are we, but as a schoolgirl well can be, filled to the brim with girlish glee. 3 little maids from school, everything is a source of fun.
Don't look at me, folks. I just review this stuff. I don't write it. But I guess flamboyantly straight is a thing, too. The pompous pink-haired Pain doesn't have much time to challenge Tenchi for Ayeka's hand because of the usual untimely bad landing of Mahoshi's ship, and we don't see the poor bastard again until Tenchi GXP. I guess this is enough for the king to just throw up his hands and say, screw it, stay in the space boonies, kids, because he leaves. He also swears vengeance in private, but nothing ever comes of it in the next OVA. But then nothing comes of anything. And like I said, I'll get to that monster. I like to think the king is just jealous because while he got 2 ladies macking on him, Tenchi has at least 4, and possibly Sasami in the future. And no, that isn't child grooming. She's way older than Tenchi, and is his aunt, and wow, that's creepy in a whole other way. But hey, what isn't creepy about Tenchi's family? As long as you're doing incest, you might as well add polygamy. Are we sure the Jiraians aren't the Alabama of the galaxy? At least Tenchi's parents weren't Oh wait, yeah they were. I guess they inbred personality right out of their kid.
What are you talking about, Shelbyville? Why would we want to marry our cousins?
Because they're so attractive. I thought that was the whole point of this journey.
Absolutely not.
I tell you, I won't live in a town that robs men of the right to marry their cousins.
Another aside, by the way, what is with this OVA and characters being fused? Sasami was fused with Tsunami, Ryoko gets fused with the Mass, Ryoko gets fused with Zero. I don't even know how that worked. Is she part robot now or what? I haven't seen so much fusion since Dragon Ball Z. Is it some kind of fetish of Kajushima's or what? Incest, fusion, furries from the initial look at humanoid Ryoko, harems obviously. Oh damn, is Tenchi Muyo a fetish show? Cuckolding, age transformation, gigantic women, sadomasochism, lolicon. This show is like the DSM-5 section on paraphilic disorders. Is the newest OVA going to transform into an orgy of foot worship and vor?
We're through the looking glass here, people.
But surely there's something else to talk about in this OVA. What's the deal with the lack of the Lighthawk Wings use? It's supposed to be Tenchi's big gift, and he goes from slaying an evil space pirate to just kind of using it to survive the vacuum of space. I know Tenchi Muyo isn't really an action franchise per se, but Tenchi does even less with his powers in this OVA than in the first. You can't just introduce something as cool as the Lighthawk Wings and then not use them. I mean, matter transformation? Imagine the possibilities! No, wait. Don't. You'll just get disappointed. Especially considering the tease we get in episode 13.5, when Tokimi readies her next operative, a shadowy figure who has 5 Lighthawk Wings, as opposed to Tenchi's 3. That's so cool, and I was excited to see what would come next. But, as I've said... yeah... Oh, Tenchi OVA 2. You may have wasted a bit of time with domestic trifles, but you were setting things up, painting a bigger picture, opening us to a wider universe that will be full of unique treasures in the future. After seeing this, we all waited with bated breath for years to see where this journey would take us next. And what we got was... well, I'll get to that another time. But OVA 2 is pretty enjoyable nevertheless, even if it was largely the Washu show. Who doesn't love Washu? Next time on Otaku Evolution, I'll be finishing up the Mobile Suit Gundam movie trilogy, so fire up your Saikamu system and deploy your bits, the 1-year war is about to hit its climax. Until then, see ya!
Little girls turn you on, huh?
What?
I knew it! You're gonna take me to some kind of secret club, and then do all kinds of things to my young and beautiful body! Oh my! Oh my! And at the end, you're gonna do something absolutely unspeakable! Wow! Old age has such a way of distorting how you express your love.
I am lonely like the moon. You are far away as the earth. Though you say I light your thoughts night after night, soon you forget. We are drifting in this dance. I can feel you circle my heart, keeping silence.